Hi, I'm Indus, founder and CEO of Quolum. Welcome to Quolum Live. I have been part of the enterprise software and technology industry for more than a decade. In my session today, I'll be giving a bird's eye view of the major changes SaaS industry has seen in the last 10 years and what is coming in the next 10. I'll also talk about why I started Quolum and a recent survey we did with CFOs this summer. I'll also briefly discuss on Quolum's approach to SaaS spend management. 2000 was the era when Salesforce was founded on this vision of no software, that, hey, you have your software in the cloud and you can use it, you could store data, you could have workflows. And I remember that it was launched with a great fanfare that all your data, all your workflows are in the cloud. If I woke up today, low code or no code is the hot topic, quote unquote. The no software vision of Salesforce is being born in 2020 as low code or no code. I don't think we have missed a great deal in the last 20 years. What was a vision statement 20 years ago is now becoming a reality. So much so that we can basically build great websites right out of a design board and bypass all the mess of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript coding. So we went from no code to, or we went from no software to no code, where websites could be launched and built without going deeper into how to build it. Same thing is happening in enterprise, that we could basically take multiple data sources, stitch it together without writing a single SQL query, and then pass data from one organization to the other. So I think in last 20 years, what we have seen is the vision of cloud, the vision of no software becoming a reality. So if I just woke up, it would look like that, yeah, this is what I slept with the ad seeing on the billboard, and I'm waking up today saying, okay, somebody's making it a reality. So on one side, I probably missed a great amount of transition, but in reality, I think I just woke up thinking, okay, this was a sequence of steps we are supposed to take as technology professionals. We basically polled a number of CFOs, asking them a simple question saying, hey, are you going to dig deeper in your software spending pattern? And to a surprise, 4 out of 5 CFOs said yes, they want to further investigate and rationalize whether they're spending the right amount of dollars on right tools in their organization. What that survey told me, and this was just around the time when we were being hit by this coronavirus pandemic, what that survey was telling me that CFOs have come to a point that they do not know how we are spending those dollars on what kind of tools in their organization. What that survey also tells me that CFOs in retrospect are signing off on these invoices, but they probably have very little visibility into what is being used in the organization. Now, if you look what's happening today, and now it kind of all connects together, because newer generation of workers are entering the employee pool. They bring their own notion of what the best of the breed tool should look like. So hence they go out, buy whatever they feel like, and then they expense it, convince their managers, and hence newer tools get added to the organization. If you remember, in March, just 3 months ago, we were all talking about Zoom, that, hey, how video conferencing is the bedrock of remote work. If it did not exist, we will all be coming down to a screeching halt. But if you listen to the chatter of last few weeks, it's no longer about Zoom. It's about having a Zoom inside a project management software, having a Zoom inside an experience or employee engagement tool, having a Zoom plus a virtual happy hour, which could drive employee engagement. So I think if we had to redo the survey, the numbers could inch even further towards double digit, 90% than anything else, because more and more the foundation of remote work is software tools. So are we spending on the right ones? Are we using the right ones? I think that's what is on the CFO's mind. And although the survey was in the early summer, in early March, but I think more and more CFOs are worried about the amount of dollars being spent on software in their organization. I think we will see going forward a sort of pattern emerging on what they should clamp down on, what data is going through these tools, and of course having much more of a rational experience of where the dollars are being utilized. So last summer, when I was working for a SaaS, very large and a popular SaaS vendor, what I was experiencing that every quarter my head of finance would send me a spreadsheet containing a list of tools and asking me whether I approve the renewal of these tools. And in return, I would ask him, hey, who is using these tools and when did I approve it? And he would probably have no paper trail of A, who's using it, B, when did I approve it? Because unfortunately, all these tools were used by employees who use their own credit card and then use their then manager's approval and bought it. Now it comes to my department and my responsibility to rationalize these expenses. And as a result of that, I could see easily that 30-40% of these tools are probably not being utilized. In fact, I did a small audit using my own resources and found a certain SaaS product had more number of seats than the people in my own organization. And that got me thinking that, hey, is this just my problem, or it is an industry-wide issue? And when I polled a few of my friends in different companies, they said, yeah, they use a set of spreadsheets to track what SaaS products are being used. Hence, basically, I decided that, hey, this is too big of an opportunity to let it pass and too big of a problem not to be solved. So I jumped ship, came out, and started Quolum with the vision of, hey, how can we track down every dollar that is being spent on every SaaS tool that is being used in an organization? So that was last summer, kicked it off, and here we are. We've been building this for almost 10 to 12 months now. We are essentially a control plane where we come in and say, hey, we will track down what is your dollar doing, where it is being used. So for every unit of software that is being consumed in the organization, how much we are spending on it, and whether this consumption is justified. And we come in and we say, hey, for that dollar, here's the number of units of software that you're using or not using, and bubble up our own recommendations and sort of insights to the finance department. And with that, what happens is the finance org gets 100% visibility into all the SaaS spending in their organization, and beyond the spending, whether there is utilization of that. I think two or three things that would happen over next 10 years. A, there will be a massive adoption of software as a utility in every walk of life that we either engage or consume or be a part of it. At least in technology, I would say that we never will stop using the word SaaS. It will be just software in 10 years. I think in the last 10 years, we've started calling software SaaS because of the newer delivery and business model. But I think we'll go back to software because everything will be SaaS. You are no longer going to be installing things on your laptop if they exist at that time, but everything is on cloud with very high speed data connection. At least from a dollar perspective, what we will see that software itself will become $3 to $4 trillion of TAM across the board, comprising of hardware, software, services, and all of it together. If you look at just SaaS today, it's a very small fraction of overall IT spend in the enterprise. And this will become a fully penetrated software spend, and they will merge together, and the total TAM will be in that $2 to $4 trillion range. I think that transition will create a rapid growth in the number of applications that will be born. And to my earlier commentary, I think be driven by the low code or no code set of tools that would come out, driven by cheap compute that is almost prevalent in terms of public cloud. But we will also see adoption across the board. A lot of industries still use software very sparingly, or there are paper processes, or there are spreadsheets, and human element being added in to automate set of a workflow. We will see AI and automation kind of kicking that manual process out and then putting software in the middle. So I think we'll see a massive adoption in the next 10 years. I also envision that the cost of developing software will go down, because as an engineer, if I take a deeper look, there are so many things to do, and there are so many ways of doing a thing. A simple problem can be solved using different techniques. So we will see abstraction and simplification at the same time. We will see standardization at the same time, just like we see standardization in the plumbing industry, in the home building industry. When you buy an adapter and a USB wire, it is expected that both of these two pieces are going to connect. That has not happened in software yet. Hence everything like a data stitching platform, ETLing, takes a lot of time because there's no standardization. And this standardization will make software development cheaper. And as a result, there'll be a massive adoption in the enterprise and in consumer and prosumer businesses. So I think if I fast forward to 2030, we will see software just like we see every utility available, massive consumption of the things that we go to a grocery stores and we buy, because there is a set framework and standardization. So we'll see the same thing in software. We'll see the adoption. We'll see a massive growth. We'll see consumption. Those are 3 or 4 things that I see in the next 10 years. I think more than overconsumption, I see incorrect consumption. I also see shelfware consumption. The way I would portray overconsumption is tools being overbought but underconsumed. So it may look like overconsumption from the CFO's point of view, because he would just say, hey, he's spending a lot of money. But as he peels the onion, he'll figure out, oh, I'm spending a lot of money, but actually I'm not consuming. Many of these tools are rotting in my proverbial fridge that I have paid money and bought. So for a CFO, I think the process is pretty straightforward. I think it consists of discovery, figuring out what is being paid for in the organization. That is simplest. So having a dashboard saying, hey, let me go to my expense system and line item wise figure out every tool that has been paid for. That's one. Then I would go to my identity system, call my IT friend saying, hey, tell me everything that is not being expense, but still being utilized. And at times people pay for it using their credit cards and don't expense it, but still corporate data is sitting in some of those tools. And then once I have every tool inventoried, then I need to figure out who are the users, who's logging in, how much are they using. And then once you marry the usage with the dollars, then I go on to a path saying, okay, what are the duplicates? Can I buy a cheaper or better tools? Or can I buy a tools with the same number of features I'm using, but I have to pay less dollars because I don't need to have everything. For example, today we buy a G Suite, Google's G Suite, which has 12 applications out of the box, but then you have to pay for others on top of that. Maybe you bought an enterprise plan which has 18 different or 20 different individual applications attached, and you see, hey, nobody's using. So maybe you could scale down on those plans. So I think starts with the discovery, then the utilization or consumption, then I would say rationalization, which is, am I using it? Am I effectively using it? Am I having duplicates in my system? Can I do a lock and replace? Can I do shut down on some of these tools because the need has vaporized? Those are some of the areas I would just kickstart. But simplest is discovery because the CFO already has the data for it. Thank you.